Attitude, sir!
Hey YouTubers, we are on to the second set here. Bisu already down, one loss. I would not have predicted this. I mean, I predicted a 3-2 in favor of Bisu, but I did not predict that he would lose this early, and he's looking awfully distraught, if you ask me. This is his first loss in a long time in this OSL, so it's given him a bit of a taste of reality, I think. He needs to slap himself in the face and say, okay, I'm freaking Bisu, I am the best StarCraft player in the world, and I'm not going to let this little chihuahua-looking mofo beat me and stop my path of becoming the first Protoss Bonjour. But we'll see what Fantasy is capable of. He was certainly capable of, he impressed me a lot in that last game, actually, just the way that he stopped Bisu at every turn. And I think that the fact that these two are on the same team had a lot to do with that. But this match is going to be on Return of the King, and it looks like we're getting ready to start. I will actually give you the stats this time. I meant to do that the last time. But yeah, these guys are more tied up than you'd probably think. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, this is starting to get exciting. I'm excited now because I was hoping that it wasn't going to be like a plow, just 3 wins and Bisu plows through the competition. But anyway, up here at the 2 o'clock position in green is Bisu. That means down at the 8 o'clock position in whatever color is Fantasy. He's down there in blue. But yeah, let me give you the stats here. Fantasies versus Protoss is his best matchup at 58%. Which is pretty impressive, even though he's relatively new as far as televised games go. And Bisu's worst matchup actually is versus Terran at 59%. So these guys are just a percentage point away from each other. I think it's just the fact that Fantasy has so many just weird losses is the fact that people don't think he's an S-class player. But Fantasy, when he wants to play well, he plays really, really well. When he comes in with a plan, when he comes in with a great build, his mechanics are really good. And, yeah, he has some great coaches behind him, too. Unfortunately, I don't think that I Love UV and Boxer have been working too much with Bisu to prepare for the semifinal. I think they've mostly just been popping their heads over Fantasy's shoulders as he's been playing recently. And at least that's the image I have in my head. But Fantasy is building his supply depot here. He might be walling off at his main, which would be interesting. But Bisu is putting up his gateway. So it's looking like standard play from both. Again, Fantasy not cheesing just yet. I really have a feeling he's going to cheese soon because Fantasy is a cheesy guy. He cheeses a lot, and he's cheesed his way into this OSL pretty much, getting some nice bunker rushes going there to get rid of Hero in that one tiebreaker, although Hero is still in this. It'll be interesting. It's very interesting because Bisu, I'd say the remaining 3 players are the best players to throw against Bisu and stopping him right now. Fantasy, Hero, and Jaedong are all capable of beating Bisu, I believe. So this is definitely Bisu's ultimate test to see if he can be the best StarCraft player right now and finally sneak into an OSL final. Bisu has never made an OSL final, actually. He's more of an MSL guy. He's won 3 MSLs, obviously, and he just hasn't been able to sneak into an OSL finals yet. There's the probe and the SCV meeting down there. And they're eventually going to get the scout here on the 2nd position. So I don't think either is going to go to the top 10 o'clock position there. But yeah, I was surprised to look at those stats before the last game. I meant to read them last game, but yeah, these guys are surprisingly tied up. Bisu, you think of Bisu as just being an unstoppable monster, even in versus Terran, but even Bisu has some flaws. Obviously, being very predictable that last round, whether it had something to do with the practice, the fact that they've been practice partners, I don't know, but Bisu was just predicted. Fantasy predicted everything Bisu was going to do, and Bisu did it. So the fact that Bisu is a very predictable player is probably going to have an effect on these games. Maybe Bisu should try to do something different than his usual standard play. Looks like Fantasy is going to float over his command center and take that economic advantage, while Bisu has a couple troops on the ground. He's getting his gateway out, spinning that cybernetics core to get the upgrades. I think he ended up canceling the range upgrade last game. I was watching it again and didn't quite catch it the first time, but I think he did cancel that to build the robotics facility, get those minerals faster to build the robotics. And yeah, Bisu is just looking all over the place for cheese in these games. He is just suspecting so much that Fantasy is going to cheese him. And maybe it's smart that Fantasy isn't cheesing, since he knows that Bisu will be looking for it a lot. Maybe that's the reason he's not doing it. But Bisu is going out here with a small force, trying to get rid of this SCV, and the SCV probably going to go down. Maybe Bisu's inching forward, takes out that scouting SCV, so the SCV is not going to get the scout on what Bisu is up to here. Bisu is building pylons all over the place for scouting here. Lots of pylons around here, actually, and I don't even see the next building for him, so he could be plopping down the Nexus soon to get the economic advantage there. While Fantasy is going to float over his command center soon. It looks like he's going for a very similar strategy as he did in the last game, just Marines and tanks. He doesn't really have anything else out here, and this is looking a lot like the last game. Bisu is putting down his expansion, and he's going to have it a little bit later than Fantasy again. This is very similar to the last game, but now Bisu, he has Dragoons all over the place. He's going to try to stop the scouting from happening, and he is going to deny another scout taking down another SCV. So Fantasy's going to be in the dark until he can scan the main. Maybe scan that natural and see what Bisu is up to here. He'll probably scan the main soon and see the next building coming up for Bisu. I think the observers are going to take a look at that next building. At least I hope right now. Let's see what's coming up here. The robotics facility coming up. So yeah, very, very similar to the last game. We're probably going to see some more attempted Reaver harassment from Bisu. And if it goes too much like the last game, I think Fantasy is going to have a huge advantage. But no, Fantasy is building a starport right now. So I think he's going to probably try to do some vulture harassment, drop some vultures all over the place. He loves to drop vultures with the dropship. So that is my guess as to what he's going to do here. And Fantasy is moving up the map right now with a extremely small force here. I don't think he'll be able to really tackle Bisu head on with that small force. I think one Marine and 3 tanks and 1 Vulture might not be enough, since Bisu, he has quite a few Dragoons out right now. I think he has 6 Dragoons, and he's going to probably be able to protect this Nexus if he can keep his Dragoons away from the mines here. He's going to have to do a little bit of mine luring here. He tried to do it there, but it didn't quite work for him. But now Fantasy is going to try to do a contain here. This is very early contain from Fantasy, and he has those mines in a great position here if he can keep Bisu from going up and luring the mines out. Oh, Bisu trying to drag the mine, only taking out an SCV and a Marine there, almost taking out everything, though, with the mine drag. So Fantasy's got to be super, super careful here. He's still throwing units up the map, though. This is very aggressive play from Fantasy. He does not want to give up this contain. I think he is going to try to contain Bisu into his natural. He has a couple tanks up there, and once he gets siege ready, I think that will be the deciding factor here. If he can build some turrets around those tanks, and he is getting out his dropship right now, so he's going to be able to drop vultures into the main while Bisu is trying to protect his natural. So this could end up working very, very well for Fantasy if he can play his cards right here. Bisu is floating around here with the shuttle. He's going to try to do a Zealot Bomb. And let's see what Fantasy's up to here. Bisu, he's getting up another gateway here. He needs a large ground force on the ground. He needs a Reaver in here, too. I think that the Reaver is coming out. And here comes Fantasy with that Vulture drop. I think he's going to go straight to the main here, but he's going to be met by some forces. Bisu's trying to take that mineral only, mind his base. And I'm not sure how successful this little vulture attack is going to be. Bisu knows about it, and he's pulling up his troops right now.